And I needed this week. I needed a good week, guys. I'm going through a tough time back home in Minnesota. My car died. It's always a bummer. I shouldn't even be surprised. It was a long time coming. This thing had 287,000 miles on it. It was a 1993 Ford Escort. It's a stupid name for that car. Because really, when they're that old and beat up, you usually just call them hookers. It's not Escorts are very expensive. $300 a night. I wouldn't even kick in the extra $17 for the high-mile synthetic oil change. That is not an Escort. That's a Ford hooker. Or a whore. It was a Ford whore. Four-door Ford whore. Try saying that 3 times fast. It's fun. Goddamn thing was totaled, which of course means the cost to repair the vehicle is greater than the total value of the vehicle. And what happened was the front right tire was a little low on air. I pulled in one of these gas stations. You got to pay $1.50 to use the air compressor. Fucking totaled, man. It's just totaled. So I had to go looking for a new car. That reminded me I'm not cool anymore if I ever was. 40 years old, wife, 2 kids, mortgage payment. Not looking at the same kind of car you're looking at 20 years ago, right? Like I've been looking at the Ford Flex. A new model called the Ford Flex. If you haven't seen them, what they do is they take all the boxiness of a station wagon and combine it with all the sexlessness of a minivan. They combine those 2 things together into one model, and they send you out on the highways and byways. And I've been seeing a lot of these cars on the road, and I gotta admit, I think they look pretty sharp. And I think they look cool for the wrong reasons. They're like, wow, what is that, seat 8? Look at all the headroom. That is cool. It's not cool. And a Camaro will blow by me in the left lane, and I'll be like, well, that's not even practical. Come on. Where do you even keep the groceries? Ridiculous. It's been so long since I've been cool, I forgot if you drive a Camaro, you don't even buy groceries. You eat out hot chicks on the hood of your Camaro. What I'm telling you is no woman has ever let herself get bent over the hood of a Ford Star minivan. That's never happened. Maybe an Odyssey van. Those are pretty baller, but that's out of my price range. I don't know. Marriage changes you, man. It's changed my wife. My wife's not the same woman I married 15 years ago. Because I love her so much, I didn't even see it happening until it was way too late. I'll tell you what happened. We were driving down the road, a goddamn Ford Flex, and she turns to me out of nowhere, and she says to me, well, I didn't know there was an Applebee's over there. Yeah, I know, I was stunned into silence, too. So I asked her to repeat herself, hoping I had misheard her, and she said, well, I didn't know there was an Applebee's over there. Who the fuck are you? And what have you done with my rock and roll wife? This is not the same woman I married. The woman I married doesn't say things like, I didn't know there was an Applebee's over there. The woman I fell in love with and pledged my life to says things like, I just love bourbon and prescription painkillers. That's the one I fell in love with. But she's changed. I put it in context for you. When I was still dating my wife, before we were married, I picked her up one night and I took her to a rock and roll show, because that's what you do when you're dumb and crazy and in love. And another thing you do when you're dumb and crazy and in love sometimes is you eat too many magic mushrooms before that rock and roll show. And I knew for sure it was too many mushrooms, because while we were waiting in line outside the club for the show to start, my wife passed out because she thought she saw a physical ray of light form on the face of the setting sun, hurtle through space to smack her in the forehead, and it laid her out. I'm not lying, it was pretty scary. But when she came to, the first words out of her mouth was, what time does the fucking concert start? I didn't know there was an Applebee's over there. Do you see the difference? Do you see what I'm talking about? Early in our marriage, we lived in Vancouver, British Columbia, a beautiful part of the planet. And if you know anything about British Columbia, you know they have the finest marijuana available in North America. And I remember one particular time, my wife and I had to take our car across the U.S.-Canadian border. And what this woman did, this rock star of a life partner, is she stuffed her little, her coin purse, her Joey pouch. It's my wife. I don't want to get gross about it. She stuffed it, filled to bursting, with British Columbia's finest marijuana, just so that we had enough smoke for our road trip down the California coast. That's a woman. That's someone to build a life around. I didn't know there was an Applebee's over there. I don't know who that is. I don't know what to do with that. Plus, I think it was a little mean for her to say that. Kind of mean-spirited. You know? Like, it's cruel. We're already in a Ford Flex pulling out of a Dairy Queen after our kids' swimming lessons. I didn't know there was an Applebee's over there. That's just rubbing salt in the wound, as far as I'm concerned. And that wound should not be filled with salt, ladies and gentlemen. It should be filled with British Columbia's finest marijuana, because that's how Papa likes to get down.